Now, there are other forms of mural that we see in these houses on a regular basis, and you have to remember, keep in the back of your mind, that this is very much keeping up with the Joneses, the same way we buy a BMW, not because it's a much more comfortable car or it's that much better of a car, it's going to get you somewhere just like a Nissan will, but we do it to show off and to keep up with the neighbors and show everyone our income. So we're going to start with this portrait of a husband and wife, but it's not really just a portrait. Now, this is very common, and we see it in a fourth style setting. This would have been one of the paintings in a room with numerous panels that are painted just like the one we saw in the last slide. And we see a husband and wife. This is a marriage portrait. And what they're doing is they're giving us certain attributes about themselves. They're showing off, is ultimately what they're doing. As we look at the portrait, we notice they're each holding something. He is holding a scroll. Why is he holding a scroll? Because he's showing that he's literate, that he's educated, that he's knowledgeable. So this becomes very, very important, just like the scribes of Egypt or people who we see from the Etruscans and the Greeks who are educated. They want to show that. Just like today, you walk into a doctor's office or a lawyer's office where education is particularly important, and behind them you'll see a big wall of degrees where they got their fancy piece of paper that they paid a little too much for. And on the other side, the wife is holding this. This is actually a wax tablet, and in her mouth or next to her chin, she's holding a stylus. So this would be a frame with a wooden back, and on the front you would put wax. And then use the stylus to write in the wax. Basically, it's a notebook. Again, showing that she's literate and educated. And what you would do is then, when you're done with it, you would heat it, remelt the wax, and reuse it. It's sort of their version of an iPad. And we also get a sense of who they are from their clothing. This is very expensive clothing. His toga is white. That's not uncommon, but you'll notice hers is red. And red, anything dyed, is going to be more expensive. We also get a sense of their individual features, what they look like. So this is a way of getting across ideas that you don't want to simply tell your guests. I don't want to go up to my guests and go, by the way, I have this degree and that degree, and I can read and I can write. Instead, I put it all in a portrait. They're going to pick up on it, and I am ultimately keeping up with the Joneses. There's one other way to do this. There's one other way to do this, which is through still life, which is basically a painting of your stuff. I have enough money that I not only have stuff, but I can pay for a painting of my stuff. In this case, I'm showing off a clear glass jar, which seems pointless today, but they're incredibly expensive in Roman times, and peaches, which are imported and would have been available only to the wealthy. So, here we're seeing some interesting elements. This is an opportunity not only for the homeowner to show off, but also for the artist. There's a reason why many artists still do still life today. When we look at it, we'll start with the glass here. What the artist has done is painted clear water in a clear glass jar. Now, not only is clear glass for a jar of that size quite expensive, but from an artistic perspective, it's very difficult to capture, especially when you remember that this is fresco. He has 3 to 4 hours to paint this entire thing. So he can't sit there for 10 or 20 hours trying to figure out how this water in a glass will work. And yet he does it in a fairly convincing manner. Yes, some elements are a little off, but overall, it's pretty convincing. It definitely reads as a clear glass vessel with water. The peaches, he's trying to show on this sort of ledge, almost like we're looking at a step, with the peaches both on the top and the bottom. And by the way, peaches weren't always the color that they are today. They were often eaten in a green state. There were different forms. You have hybridization. I won't get into it too much. But the peaches are a way for him to show off his ability to model a complex form. Now, some of them are really easy. Like this one is pretty much just a ball. That's pretty straightforward. But then when you get the peaches up here with the clefts, or you have this leaf, or the peach with a bite taken out of it, that gets more complex. So he's showing off again his ability to understand and depict three-dimensional space while allowing the homeowners to keep up with the Joneses. And if we ever find out who the Joneses are, please someone let me know.